Hey folks, Roland Martin here. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. First, we're going to talk about in Dallas, where a police officer is free on bail after this she said that she shot a black man who she thought was in her apartment accidentally. Yet she lived on a different floor from him. And now her story has changed. We'll talk with Lee Merritt, who is the family attorney for the man who was shot and killed. A strange story out of Dallas. Also, lots of conversation continues about Serena Williams. She lost the U.S. Open to Naomi Osaka on Saturday. Yeah, people are still talking about the controversy over a game being taken away from her and also her reaction. We'll hear from Billie Jean King, Martina Navratilova, and also Stephen A. Smith. Lots of stuff on social media. Folks are also angry about a cartoonist who depicted Serena, some say, in a racist way. We'll have that story as well. And speaking of the issue of race, the mayor of a small town in Louisiana has now blasted Nike and ordered that no Nike gear be bought from in that city for any athletic reasons. We'll talk with Jarvis DeBerry, who is a columnist for NOLA.com, about this strange story. Also, folks, what is blockchain technology? We've heard this all over the place. Blockchain and new technology. Well, Howard University, they've got a conference taking place as we speak. We'll have one of the organizers of that conference right here on the show talking about that. We've got a jam-packed show for you. Folks, it's time for us to bring the funk and Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
All right, folks, a strange weekend in the city of Dallas where a police officer shot and killed a man. And the story that she gave was that she thought she was in her apartment. And when she came in, she shot and killed him. This is very weird. So Amber Geyer worked about 12 or 14 hours on the weekend. And apparently she went to her apartment. And as the story goes, she thought there was an intruder in her apartment. Well, she shot him dead on the spot. That man is Botham Jean. He was actually in his own apartment. He was an associate at PricewaterhouseCoopers, the big accounting firm and consulting firm. Now, the crazy thing is, after Geyer called 911, they came on the scene. They tried to save Botham. Well, then he died. But she wasn't arrested. This happened on Thursday. It wasn't until 3 days later she was actually arrested in a neighboring county. When she was finally arrested, bail was set $300,000. She bonded out. Right now, she is free. So what in the world is going on there in Dallas? Major controversy there. The city of Dallas, of course, they were actually leading the investigation. Then they shifted the investigation from Dallas to the Texas Rangers. And they said she had not been arrested because she was still cooperating. Okay? Now, here's the weird thing. She wasn't on duty. So she shot and killed this man, but they're treating her like she was actually on duty. That also doesn't make sense. Now it's something different. Now her story is changing. Well, the initial story she gave is that she had issues unlocking the door. He comes to the door in his underwear, opens the door, she shoots him. Her new story is that she stepped in, saw him, ordered him to back up. It's all crazy that's going on. We're going to talk with the family attorney, Lee Merritt, who's also been hired in this case along with Ben Crump. But first, this is Botham Jean's mother speaking at a news conference earlier today.
What we want, I'm not satisfied that we have all the answers. And the number one answer that I want is, what happened? I have asked so many questions and I've been told that there are no answers yet. I'm looking forward to all of the powers that be to come up with the answers to make me more satisfied that they are doing what is in the best interest of getting justice for both of them.
All right, folks, we're going to be talking with Lee Merritt. Of course, he is the attorney for the family in just 1 second. But first, I want to go to Avis Jones-DeWeaver, who's one of our panelists. Of course, she is lifestyle strategist, leadership strategist, and author of How Exceptional Black Women Lead. This is a weird story, Avis, because the story, again, is changing. It's changing. She doesn't get arrested. 3 days go by. City of Dallas, they're leading it. And all of a sudden, the Texas Rangers are involved. And, again, this wasn't an on-duty shooting.
Right.
They literally are treating her as if she did this on duty.
Absolutely. You know, one thing that doesn't change, Roland, the truth. The truth doesn't change. So the fact that she has already shifted her story so drastically raises all sorts of red flags for me. Quite frankly, initially the story raised all sorts of red flags for me. If it sounds ridiculous and unbelievable, it probably is unbelievable.
Well,
and the fact that it shifted even gives more credence to the fact that she's lying.
Well, and what's weird to me is, again, this whole idea of I thought it was in my apartment. First of all, her apartment is on a totally different floor than his apartment.
Yep.
We also know that there was a red mat that was in front of his home, his apartment, that wasn't in front of hers.
Absolutely.
And then now the story is changing. And so it's just like I don't understand how all of a sudden you get mixed up. I've never gotten mixed up.
I haven't
going to the wrong apartment.
I haven't either. And, you know, there's furniture. There are identifying articles that are in your apartment that's not in another person's apartment. And even if the lights were off in his apartment, there's light in the hallway. So when you open the door, that is going to bring some illumination into that new space. You cannot tell me that she did not realize until she killed this man that she wasn't in her own apartment.
Now, here's what's weird. This is the initial story that came out. It was reported that she said that when she arrived home, she took the elevator to a floor that was not hers. Okay. She then went to what she thought was her door, put the key in, and struggled with the lock. Geiger then put down several things she was holding and continued to fight with the key when the resident swung open the door and startled her. Geiger believed Jean, who was wearing only underwear, was an intruder and shot him with her service weapon. Okay, so let's deal with that. All he has is underwear. Mm-hmm. Why would you shoot him? As opposed to say, sir, what are you doing in my apartment? Step into the hallway. But check this out. Hold on, I'm not done yet.
I don't know any burglars that rob homes in their underwear.
This is the new one.
To me.
Now, according to J.D. Miles, who is a reporter there in Dallas, it says, breaking, his tweet, sources reveal Amber Geiger told investigators she yelled at Botham Jean to show his hands after she walked into his apartment, drew her firearm, and shot him. Officers say the door was unlocked, and she thought she was entering her unit when she saw a victim in the dark. Now, that night, I struggled with the lock.
Right.
I couldn't get in. Now, the door was unlocked. I walked in.
Mm-hmm. And I'm ordering someone.
I'm sorry, you're lying. I don't understand why. You're lying. You can't go from I struggle unlocking the door and the door swings open and he's there in his underwear to, oh, he's standing, oh, the door's unlocked.
Absolutely. I mean, I've lived in apartments. I don't live in an apartment now, but I lived in an apartment for many years, going through college, grad school, all that stuff. And, you know, those mats that you placed in front of your apartment is a very identifying marker. And he had a red mat in front of his. It's impossible for me to believe that she even approached his door without even seeing a red mat, knowing that she doesn't have any mats in front of her apartment. How she sets up this story doesn't even make sense in terms of the facts, and the fact that her story has changed so remarkably. I mean, they're not even close.
Right.
To me, it's just very unbelievable.
Well, this is also what happens, I think, when you have a shooting involving a police officer, and when they give the officer all kinds of leeway that they would never give any other citizens. You cannot tell me that if you shot somebody and you kill them, that 3 days would go by and you would never have been arrested.
Absolutely. And the family isn't given the information that they should be given. They are the victims here. They are the victims here. And the police, as would be expected, are closing ranks and protecting their own.
Right, and even though the city of Dallas turned this over to Texas Rangers, and apparently she was found in Kaufman County, which is a nearby county in Dallas. What they then did was, but this happened in Dallas County. Well, the DA earlier had a news conference, and she said, oh, let's be clear, we will call a grand jury in this case. And so the initial call was that it would be a manslaughter charge. But even that's still troubling for people, because here's this man, 26 years old,
Yes.
in his own apartment, upstanding citizen. He's dead.
Yeah.
And then one of the stories said that she's just so distraught by what took place. Yeah, but you're alive.
Exactly.
He's dead.
Exactly. I mean, really, to the extent and the leeway that white women's tears are given is driving me crazy. He has lost his life. He had an amazing future in front of him. And as you've mentioned, just set up the facts of this. First of all, she's off duty. She makes this unbelievable mistake of going to the wrong apartment on the wrong floor with an identifying marker even outside of the apartment to indicate that it's not hers. And she still makes her way into this apartment, claims she cannot see any furniture, any pictures, nothing about that apartment that would alert her to the fact that it's the wrong apartment. And all of a sudden she shoots to kill a man in his underwear who's in his own apartment, a law-abiding citizen, and has no reason to, frankly, to actually, follow any orders, because actually he's being intruded upon at that point. So, she's the intruder, not him.
So according to this affidavit, Geiger lived on the 3rd floor, directly beneath his apartment. He lived on the 4th floor. She mistakenly parked on the 4th floor after finishing a shift at the Dallas Police Department. Now, again, according to this Dallas Morning News story, when she arrived at Jean's door, Geiger entered a unique door key with an electronic chip into the keyhole. Okay, the affidavit says the door was already ajar, so the force of pushing the key inside opened the door. Strange. I mean, I don't understand. And the affidavit says the apartment's respective interior floor plans are in most ways identical or extremely similar. Okay, here's the deal. That means nothing to me, because the reality is an apartment smells different.
Absolutely.
An apartment looks different. Furniture looks different. If I walk into my apartment and there's a lamp right here, I don't have a lamp, it makes no sense. I'm still trying to understanding it. So Lee Merritt has been hired by the family in this particular case, and so he joins us via FaceTime right now. Lee, how you doing?
Doing as well as can be with these false narratives flying.
So Lee, this is so crazy and confusing because it's, again, this idea, she said on the night he was killed, she struggled getting the key in and he swung the door open. Now all of a sudden the door was unlocked.
Yeah, this is the first official narrative that this family has been offered at all as to what happened. Even the narrative from the first night, we believe that it came.
Can't hear anything.
But it was not.
I can't even hear y'all talking. So Lee, the family obviously is devastated by this. How do you also feel about this strange thing where she's being treated like she's a police officer who was involved in a police officer shooting? She was not on duty.
Regardless of whether she was on duty or not, and she clocked out. The problem is she's still in that uniform. She's still carrying a service pistol, and so she's holding herself out to the public under the color of state authority. So everybody who saw her would have looked at her as a police officer, and that's significant because that would allow her, for example, access to this apartment. I can tell you that there's evidence, there's witnesses who say the narrative that she put forward is directly contradicted by things that happened. There's several witnesses that have told us, and we've reported it to the district attorney's office, and they have that information, that this woman was knocking on John's door that evening, and saying, "Let me in." And so this narrative we outright reject as the best possible narrative for Geiger, but not very well based.
1 second here. I know you're breaking up there, Lee, and so we'll try to get this fixed. And so you're saying that witnesses have said that they heard her saying, "Let me in." We've also seen some photos of them taking it together. Have you heard anything from family members about a pre-existing relationship between those two? Were they friends? Were they dating? Anything like that?
So we do not believe that they had a pre-existing relationship based on everyone that we've talked to. The only ideal of a relationship is that she was in an apartment directly below his that we previously received noise complaints about stomping around upstairs. And so that's the extent of the relationship. We've been able to discover that she complained about him making too much noise upstairs. But we have corroborated witnesses who say that she was banging on the door, that they heard that it drew their attention, and that she was screaming, "Let me in."
Now, to your knowledge, has the Texas Rangers talked to those people? Because, again, that totally contradicts what she is saying. I'm looking here, again, this Dallas Morning News story, where they claim in this affidavit, she said she saw a large silhouette, someone she thought was being burglarized. But, again, it says she gave verbal commands that were ignored, fired twice. Jean was struck once in the torso. She turned on the lights, then went to the front door again and realized the apartment wasn't hers. I'm still confused because this affidavit is different than what she said right after the shooting.
Yeah, it's contradicted by her own testimony. And you asked a question about the Rangers. The Rangers have offered that they believe everything that this woman told them, that they believe that she has been truthful from the beginning. Mm-hmm. The problem is she's offered two different narratives. I can say the district attorney has shown less faith or credibility for what she has said, especially as this new evidence comes forward. The Rangers were told about these other witnesses. They never went to bother to go interview them. They never successfully interviewed them. We assumed they had when we went to speak with the district attorney yesterday. When we learned that they hadn't, we called the witnesses. They came. They gave sworn testimony, and that evidence is now being considered by the district attorney.
Do you believe that it was fair for the city of Dallas to turn this over to the Texas Rangers and not have the department investigate one of their own? Was that a smart decision by the city of Dallas?
I think that it was a smart decision by the city of Dallas only in this regard. They couldn't investigate themselves in this case because as soon as she made the claim that she was operating as a police officer, even when you're off duty, if she was out drinking at a bar and she heard someone break into a car outside, the moment she steps outside to investigate, she resumes her position as a police officer. So she doesn't have to clock in or out. Her training automatically affords her that position. So this is something that they're responsible for. And so they had to bring someone else in. I don't think it was wise to bring a friend. That's what the Dallas Sheriff's Department for. And say that for
actually, so we broke there, Lee Barrett. So I'm sorry I can't hear you right now because we literally have lost your connection. Lee Merritt, I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. We'll be talking to you in the following days as we follow this very strange case. Again, folks, Amber Geyer, she actually made that bail. She is out. She is free as we speak. And so this new affidavit is now showing something totally different in the initial story that she gave us. We'll be following this story. Going to a break right now. When we come back, drama surrounding Serena Williams. Even though Naomi Osaka is a U.S. Open winner, everybody's talking about Serena's behavior. Was Serena right or wrong in the way she responded to the umpire's decision? We'll break that down next, right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. All right, folks, lots of drama with the U.S. Open. That is on Saturday. Serena Williams was trying to win her 24th Grand Slam singles title. Naomi Osaka, a woman of Japanese and Haitian descent, was trying to win her first. Serena lost the first set 6-2. Then all of a sudden, she almost could have gone up 4-1. But then, of course, she was up 3-2. Then she was 3-3. Then she went down 4-3. Then the umpire gave a game to Osaka because Serena kept badgering him. That set off everything at the U.S. Open. Osaka went on to win in 2 sets. But no one's talking about her. It's still about Serena. Now, Serena says she was standing up for her rights as a person and as a woman. But folks were divided about whether she deserved the punishment. This is what tennis great Billie Jean King wrote in the Washington Post. Quote, did Ramos treat Williams differently than male players have been treated? I think he did. Women are treated differently in most arenas of life. This is especially true for women of color. Ultimately, a woman was penalized for standing up for herself. A woman faced down sexism, and the match went on. Another tennis great, Martina Navratilova, wrote this in the New York Times, quote, Serena has part of it right. There is a huge double standard for women when it comes to how bad behavior is punished, and not just in tennis, but in her protest against an umpire during the United States Open final on Saturday, she also got part of it wrong. I don't believe it's a good idea to apply standard of if men can get away with it, women should be able to as well. Now, the controversy went on all day. Maria Carrillo of CBS Sports, who's also a tennis commentator, said this on MSNBC this morning.
This guy is a very, very respected chair umpire, Stephanie. He has been doing it for decades. He has been doing big matches for decades. This is not Andy Griffith and Mayberry letting, Otis, the town drunk, let himself in and out of the prison cell. This is not who that guy is. Serena should have known that. Look, at her very best, and she is often at her very best, I respect and admire Serena beyond measure. She is so powerful. She's an important voice. She's a ferocious competitor, but at her very worst, as she was on this night, she acts like a bully.
Now on ESPN's First Take, Stephen A. Smith weighed in as well.
Serena Williams is the GOAT. I'm on the record saying last week that if she were not a woman, if she were a man, she'd be recognized as the GOAT. And as a black man, I'm incredibly proud of her accomplishments and how her and her sisters have conducted themselves and the level of adversity that they've had to deal with in the world of tennis and beyond. They are role models extraordinaires. But as we talk about this specific incident in question, Serena Williams was wrong. Somebody has to say it, so I will. The reality is that this referee, when Serena Williams brought the issue of gender and sexism into the argument, that's when she lost.
Vanessa DeLuca, former editor-in-chief of Essence Magazine, wrote a piece in the Washington Post. I want to chat with her right now. Vanessa, how you doing?
Doing great.
All right, Vanessa, so you make the argument that what Serena experienced on Saturday is what black women deal with all of the time. Explain that.
What I was really saying is that whenever a black woman decides to speak up and defend her integrity, it's automatically seen as a threat. It's automatically seen as something that she's an angry black woman, that she's being too emotional. And I don't believe that that was what was the situation that was happening with Serena.
And so what was the case? I mean, do you believe that she reacted too emotionally? Do you believe that she was out of bounds, that she should have dealt with it later? Because in the moment, she was in a match. The coach later admitted what he did was wrong. When she slammed the racket, that also is known in tennis is going to be a point. So she knows already you're down 2 points. You get one more infraction, you lose a game.
I think that her response, her reaction was a very human reaction, especially for black women, when you're constantly being told that if you defend yourself, if you defend your integrity, and that's what this really is about. It's about someone saying or trying to imply that you would cheat and that you would do anything to win, that you're looking for an unfair advantage. That's not the case here. That wasn't the case here. She was not watching her coach, and even, but she still had the right to say what she had to say.
But Vanessa,
was being understood.
but Vanessa, in this case here, he never said you cheated. What he said was your coach was giving a signal that's against the rules. She said, I don't cheat. It doesn't matter, according to the rules, it doesn't matter if she doesn't see him. If the coach is spotted giving directions, giving instruction, that's against the rules. And so even the exchange, she never did. But even when you went beyond that, the second infraction, she was still angered by the first infraction. And the third one, she was still angered by the first one. And so according all the tennis folks say, the rules were followed. He was within his right. And here's first of all, he was in his right in that she should have handled the situation better. What say you?
I missed a part of what you were saying, Roland. But what I'm trying to say, and what I think people are missing, is that now it's being characterized with language that's saying she was, that she was being a bully, that it was an outburst, that all this language that's wrapped around this is now making it appear that she was not justified in her opinion. She was trying to defend herself because her integrity matters to her. This is a woman who's won 23 Grand Slam singles titles. She clearly knows the rules of tennis. She clearly knows the rules and regulations. In this particular instance, something was triggered. And I believe that it's something that Black women go through in everyday life. This feeling that if you speak up for yourself, you're going to be penalized for it. And that's what happened here. All
right, Vanessa DeLuca, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I want to bring in my panel now. Of course, still with us is Avis Jones-DeWeaver. Joining us is Republican strategist Rena Shabarara and also Eugene Craig, CEO of the Eugene Craig Organization. Rena, I want to start with you. And so I want to get your perspective on this because, again, when you look at what happened, this thing, first of all, let me say this here. It's unfortunate that we're not talking about Naomi Osaka, who had an incredible performance. And let's just be real clear. She was beating the brakes off Serena Williams, okay? I watched the whole match. She beat her 6-2 in the first set. She could have gone down 4-1. She fought back to 3-2, tied at 3-3, went up 4-3. I mean, Serena couldn't handle anything she threw at her. And so Osaka really, and even after she won, the booing that took place at the award presentation, Serena had to tell the crowd, no more booing, please. So it's unfortunate that this is overshadowing Osaka's first Grand Slam win, and what that means to the Japanese and the Haitian people, okay? Because people keep talking about she's Japanese. No, as she made it clear, she's Japanese and Haitian. But just your thoughts in terms of how this story is playing out, what people had to say about Serena. Your thoughts.
I think it's unfortunate how two women of color are losing out here. I mean, just the whole story, how it's being talked about in society, how people are perceiving Serena's actions, how people are overshadowing the great win by this young woman who idolized Serena. It's all really terrible, and all it leads to is two really competent, accomplished, strong women of color completely just losing their story, losing their moments of glory. And look, I mean, Roland, I have a soft spot for Serena. She, as a fellow mom, what she's been through, how she's articulated a lot of how she struggled with motherhood and in her sport, and still seemed to be this real great. I do believe she's a genuine great, one of the best of our time athletes. I mean, she's somebody that's risen above the ranks through hard work. I think she felt her character was being attacked, and that was the genesis of that whole thing. I watched it. She maintained a somewhat cool, calm tone, but I feel where she went wrong, if she went wrong anywhere, was in threatening the umpire, what could be perceived as a threat by him. I think that's where it went completely wrong, where she said, you will no longer be on any court I play on in the future. And I think that was probably where it went really downhill from there. Eugene, watching the whole thing was painful.
Eugene Craig.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Raina. The thing is this, when you tell someone that, hey, I'm going to dock your point because, I perceive you to be cheating. I mean, the thing is this.
No, hold on. Hold on, Eugene. Let's stay factual. He did not perceive her to be cheating. What he said was, your coach.
That's how she perceived it.
No. But her perception, is not what happened. What I'm saying is that the umpire said, and I watched the whole deal. He said, you're being docked because your coach was giving instructions. The coach later admitted that that's exactly what he was doing. So the umpire never said you were cheating. The umpire said your coach was giving instruction. It's against the rules. You're being docked. Go ahead.
And she took that as him saying that she was cheating. I mean, her argument, her statements, her arguments were that, hey, I don't have to cheat. I'd rather lose. And the thing is that, my issue, I understand the rules are the rules, but the thing is, it's the issue of equal justice. It's the issue of, hey, this is how you're going to apply the rules, you have to apply them fairly across the board. I've seen reports that this particular umpire has let men get away with all type of infractions without docking them. Not saying it's the strongest argument, but what I am saying is that, if you're going to apply the rules, you have to apply them fairly across the board.
All right, Avis, your thoughts? Because this thing is, first of all, it's crazy how this thing is still just going on and on and on and on.
Well, as a black woman, I'm getting angry just sitting here, and I feel like I'm fully within my right to be angry because as human beings, we are allowed the full range of emotions, including anger. And if you want to get somebody angry, the first thing that you would do is impugn their character. Let's put this into a broader context. No tennis player in the whole circuit has been drug tested more than Serena Williams. She has been specifically and uniquely targeted by this organization for years. No one else has faced the level of racism and sexism that she has faced ever since she was a child throughout this organization. And at the same time, you have a Maria Sharapova who was just someone who got in drug infraction. She was doping up in order to try to compete.
And was suspended for a whole year.
Suspended for a whole year, but she's been brought back. She has been brought back ahead of time. Yes, she has been. She's supposed to be suspended for 15 months. She was supposed to be suspended for 15 months, but specific tournaments have decided to let her in under the wild card rule, which is before her 15-month infraction is over. They are bending the rules for some people, even though she is a known cheater. And to have Serena here as someone who has fought all her time, I feel like almost out of color purple, I have fought all my life to be treated with respect. And everyone knows that she is the best player. She is really the only reason why a lot of people even watch tennis. The amount of money that she has put into this organization over the years has been incredible. And so to have this man sit there and impugn her character, and then to have other people sit here.
But hold on, I got to ask you. Hold up. How did he impugn her character?
Because, I'm telling you, because I agree with Eugene here. She was seeing this as, you are saying I'm a cheater.
No.
She was seeing that.
No. I need you to answer my question. Her seeing it as that way, but how did he impugn her character if her coach was coaching, he was busted, and the umpire handed an infraction? And the coach admitted. The coach said, yes, I was coaching. He said all the coaches do it.
I have seen other articles by the New York Times that have shown other tennis matches where other coaches have been seen to show that, and not all of them have had those sort of those points taken away.
Correct.
So what I'm saying is that you are not applying the rules consistently.
Now, hold up.
And you're definitely not.
But not
let me just say this.
Hold on, Avis. Not applying the rules consistently is different from impugning character. In her argument, she said that men have said different things and have not been penalized like women have.
That wasn't even the point.
No. That's the point she made. No.
That was the second point I was going to.
Right.
She did make that point.
Right. So
but I'm saying they're not even implementing the rule consistently as it relates to the hand signals by coaches in the stands.
Well, because she was penalized, and Billie Jean King also said it needs to be fixed. Chris Everett also said the same thing. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing for me. Looking at this in terms of what took place, was the coach coaching? Yes. The second infraction, slamming the racket, point taken away. The third one, his discretion to give a game.
Right.
Here's what I thought the umpire should have done, Rena. What the umpire should have done. The umpire should have said, Ms. Williams, you have 2 infractions against you. If you continue to berate the umpire and I issue a 3rd one, you're going to lose a game. He never did that. Now, I've seen in other sports, and first of all, this was not a first-round competition. This was the finals of the U.S. Open, okay? I've seen in the NBA where a Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, they might be in a Game 5, Game 6, Game 7, and the ref is going, you might want to chill out. You already got 1 technical foul. You don't want to get thrown out. I've seen in baseball, they give them a leeway. I just simply felt in this case, the umpire should have had a little bit more thicker skin, and he never said, Ms. Williams, you already have 2 infractions. If you continue, I'm going to give you a 3rd. That, to me, is where he messed up. He has to look at the gravity of the situation and go, this is the finals of the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I agree with you. He situation and been like, look, emotions are high. This is a world-class athlete. This is a woman that we know is strong and assertive. But look, it wasn't his duty either. I do understand that deep feeling because look, my personality is the same as Serena's. If I feel I'm wronged, I'm going to continue and let you know why I think you're wronging me. And I may say something like calling you a thief, which is not cursing, which is what a lot of men have done in the past, right? But the naysayers are going to say he had no duty to stop Miss Williams. He just let her continue, and he let her sort of dig her own grave so that she did call him a thief. What started out as something sort of small, her feeling like her character was being attacked by being accused of being coached in a very high-stakes situation, it just burned out of control when he let her continue. But again, he had no duty to stop her. It would have been nice if he did the same as what most umpires do for men when they're arguing a point, is stopping them right there and saying, look, you're out of line. It's going to get worse for you if you don't stop. He just let her continue to dig her own grave. But again, Roland, I liked her tone of voice. I didn't think she didn't curse. She was fine if you ask me. But it's just unfortunate how he dealt with it. And it's been said, it's been reported that he's dealt this way in the past.
Right. And so, again, first play, gold badge judge as well. I do want to ask you this. Eugene, have you seen this editorial cartoon that's been going around? Mark Knight at Knight Cartoons on Twitter. He posted now. So it's an image of Serena Williams with these exaggerated lips, this caricature, jumping up and down, stomping on her racket. And then in the umpire, he's telling Osaka, which first of all looks like a white woman because it has blonde hair. I don't know how he understand that she's black. And so it says, can you just let her win from the umpire? This has even stirred up more controversy. People feel as if this is a throwback to racist cartoons. And in fact, the National Association of Black Journalists, they have issued a statement condemning this cartoon as well. I'm going to read that statement in just once. In fact, let me go ahead. I'm going to pull up in a second. So, Eugene, have you seen this cartoon?
Yep, I saw it. I think
so
it's
just your thoughts on it.
I was absolutely disgusting. It is absolutely racist. I mean, the exaggerated features. I mean, that the other, young lady in the picture looks like Maria Sharapova more than Osaka. It's a mess. It's a disgusting mess. And he should be rightfully blown up over it.
Avis?
Yeah, it is absolutely beyond the pale. And to think that in 2018, we still have to deal with this. It's outrageous. And but it's just one other example of the type of unique attack that Serena has had to face her entire career, unlike almost anyone else on that circuit besides her sister and a few more that are coming up now. Perhaps they'll face it too. But because she's so good, let me just be very frank here. Because she's so good, many people hate her. Because she's so much better than anyone else, and she's in that skin, and she's unapologetic about loving who she is.
Rena, I'm going to read for you this National Association of Black Journalists. I'm a board member of NABJ. Headline, Henry, go to my iPad, please. Headline says, NABJ denounces Herald's son cartoon of Serena Williams. The racial, and I'm blow this up here, the racist cartoon of Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka by Mark Knight of the Herald Sun is repugnant on many levels. The September 10th cartoon not only exudes racist, sexist caricatures of both women, but Williams' depiction is unnecessarily Sambo-like. The art of editorial cartooning is a visual dialogue on the issues of the day, yet this cartoon grossly inaccurately depicts two women of color at the U.S. Open, one of the grandest stages of professional sports. This was issued by the National Association of Black Journalists and the NABJ Sports Task Force. And Serena, now we have with this cartoon, and now you have, again, you got different folks. Billie Jean King, a tennis great, who calls a double standard. Martina Navratilova, who says Serena, frankly, took it too far. It is still interesting to me that here we are, 48 hours after this great match, and again, an unbelievable win by Osaka that we're still discussing, and how race and gender are all tied up in this story.
Yeah, that cartoon was not just racist. I mean, I cannot believe in 2018 there's still illustration out there depicting Black people looking like monkeys. And I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm so sick of this. Just people of color, we're being boxed in. We continue to be boxed in looking like a particular thing. Serena, not only was this racist, this was sexist. I mean, just totally squaring her looks and making Osaka look like a twerp. And this is absolutely, there's no place for this. And until people start to talk about that, how that's a bigger problem rather than Serena defending herself on a court where, frankly, she's earned the right to do that. And I think I just want to go back to the fact that I saw her do it in a respectful manner. She wasn't out of control. She was just trying to state a point, but people still come back and they still throw race on it. They still throw gender on it. When are people going to start looking at other people like, look, that's just a world-class athlete, and we want these good role models for our young people out there? I'm sickened by it. I think there should be some serious backlash, and I'm hoping that as we continue to see this story talked about in the mainstream news cycle, that we start talking about how we're depicting people of color, particularly Black women, as angry and monkey-like and just disgusting. I'm so beside myself in anger with this. It just makes me sick.
Hold tight 1 second. When we come back, we're going to talk about a white mayor in Louisiana saying, my city, we ain't buying no more Nike gear because of them standing with Colin Kaepernick. That's next on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
We need a revolution inside our own minds. Historian John Henrik Clark.
All right, folks, this weekend, the NFL returned. I didn't watch any games. I told y'all, long as Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reed are not in the NFL, they're being whiteballed, I'm not going to be watching any games whatsoever. Yeah, boy, there was some sorry people who were playing this weekend. Nathan Peterman in Buffalo sucked. This is a guy last year who threw 5 interceptions in the first half before he got benched. He was named a starter in Buffalo, sucked again this year. How in the hell he still has a job? Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo. This is the guy who they signed to the second richest contract in the NFL playing quarterback, sucked for San Francisco. The team who told Colin Kaepernick, nah, you can't play for us. But Garoppolo was supposed to be the miracle child from New England Patriots. Bottom line is, the NFL is whiteballing Colin Kaepernick. And so, check this out. So since Nike last week announced that he was going to be the face of the Just Do It campaign, 30th anniversary, they released this major commercial as well. You had folks taking sides, Donald Trump saying, oh, Nike is wrong. Nike's like, we don't really give a damn. And they're standing with Colin Kaepernick. Now, the mayor in Kenner, Louisiana, just outside of New Orleans, he has said, enough is enough. Ben Zahn put this memo out. Under no circumstances will any Nike product and product with the Nike logo be purchased for use or delivery at any City of Kenner recreation facility. Didn't go over too well. He's getting lots of heat. Joining us right now is the deputy opinions editor for NOLA.com, Jarvis DeBerry. Jarvis, how you doing?
I'm good, Roland. How you doing today?
All right, so Lil Mayor don't want any Nike in his city. And first of all, for folks who don't know, Donna Brazile is from Kenner, and so correct. So tell folks.
Donna Brazile is from Kenner, yes.
So tell folks exactly where Kenner is and what kind of city it is. It ain't New Orleans.
No, if you've ever flown into the airport in New Orleans, you've basically flown into Kenner. The airport is owned by New Orleans, but it's surrounded on all sides by Kenner. So it is the westernmost reach of Jefferson Parish, right before you hit the swamps, basically, is where Kenner is. But no, it's not New Orleans, but it is remarkably diverse for the metro area. And I think that's what got a lot of people in Kenner really upset about this. Like, look, we're not offended by Colin Kaepernick, so why is the mayor trying to ban, apparel from all the city's recreation facilities? It's not something that seems to be embraced by the people in Kenner themselves.
And he's getting lots of pushback. This is not going over well.
No, it hasn't. I mean, he's been really excoriated on Twitter and become like a pretty much a laughingstock. It's difficult to figure out what his motivation is for this. Some people are speculating, this is kind of the red meat that a lot of politicians want to throw out there in preparation for the next campaign. I'm not sure what his motivation is. He did not even publicly release the memo. I mean, it was an internal memo that got leaked on Facebook on Sunday morning. And so he seems to have been a little bit caught off guard by the blowback because, it was yesterday morning when all this started circulating, yesterday afternoon when NOLA.com published a story about it. And it was about 24 hours after that he finally got around to making a statement. And it was a pretty puzzling statement. I don't know if you read it or if you pulled it up. Have you seen the statement?
Yeah, I did.
And did you find it bizarre?
Well, first of all, this whole deal of, you better get permission and before you buy anything. It's like, dude, seriously?
Yeah, and these are booster clubs. So, I mean, it's not like it's money being spent by the city of Kenner itself. It's people raising money for their kids' athletics. If you want to sponsor a team, if you go to a business and say, hey, Mr. Business Owner or Miss Business Owner, can you sponsor my child's team? And that team buys some Nike gear. He's basically suggesting that they don't have a right to do that. So it's not just that he's banning Nike. He seems to be trying to put the kibosh on private citizens and what they can buy and what they can wear, which has really, really, really gotten people upset.
Jarvis, are you amazed, literally, how white folks are losing their mind over this? I mean, they are losing. Stop being amazed. I mean, they are really losing their mind over this whole deal.
I have really stopped being amazed because it's so common and it keeps happening over and over again. I mean, I think we can go back to 2008 and 2009 with Obama's election. The things that people will say and do and express, with impunity now, it's just becoming more and more common. And here's the thing. It's not like the city of Kenner is going to bring Nike to its knees. So, it's like a Fortune 100 company. So what is he doing except, trying to give red meat to people who are, looking for some conservative hero? And to be honest, this is not a political figure. I mean, New Orleans and the New Orleans metro area has been famous for having politicians and even suburban politicians who stand out, who are household names, who everybody knows who they are. They're controversial. They stay in the news for good or for bad. He's not one of these people. This is the first time I've heard, honestly, anybody talking about Ben Zahn or really anybody talking about Kenner in a long time. So it's really unclear what his motivation is, where he's going with this. One of the city councilmen, whose name is escaping me right now, but he responded to the Facebook post like, this is not clear with the council. I don't know anything about this. I don't approve this. And so I don't know. I mean, it just seems one of those things where everybody is trying to take a side in everything, even if it's a futile and quixotic quest like he's on.
All right. Jarvis DeBerry, man, always good chatting with you. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, Roland.
Thank you. Let's go back to our panel, Avis, Eugene, and Rena. I'll start with you, Eugene. I'll tell you, I'm just really getting a big kick. How Colin Kaepernick just drove white folks crazy. I mean, this, and I did D.L. Hughley's show a little bit earlier today. I was promoting Roland Martin Unfiltered, and this is what I told D.L. I said, and this is what's really bothering these white men in America. What's bothering them is that we no longer have to do what they say. And what's bothering them is that people of color are not following the directives. In America, they've always established the standard for values, for what we should think and what we should say. America's now changing, and people of color are saying, no, I don't really give a damn what y'all think.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. I mean, the structure that's been in place for the last 200, 300 years, pretty much been upended. You know, we have our own means of distribution. We have our own means of access. We have our own voices. We have our own ways to distribute our voices. And, you know, it is very interesting to see white mediocrity just get completely up in arms over just the mumblance of the name Colin Kaepernick. They say it's about the flag and anthem, but the guys have taken a knee in 2 years, have to play ball. So what are you really mad over? But this goes a step further. This mayor is out of line. Almost 100% sure it's illegal what he's trying to do. If I'm Nike, I think, I issue the greatest troll ever and say, listen, free stuff for the whole city of Canada.
Rena?
Yeah, look, Roland, whatever this mayor is doing is ridiculous, and it just reinforces how we need better civics education in this country. The lack of, the lack of respect for the First Amendment just continues to astound me. People don't seem to understand it. Colin Kaepernick has the freedom to express himself. How many times do we have to say it? But the thing is, you're right. People of color are not on the same level as white people in this country. And now that we have purchasing power, now that we have sort of seemingly equal rights in society, where we're at is a place where they want to sort of paint this with the broad brush of they're not being patriots. They're being disrespectful. They don't care about our armed forces. What about freedom to express ourselves? If we take it away from one person, we endanger the rest of us. And it just astounds me that Donald Trump, the quote-unquote Republican that he is, and the quote-unquote Republicans that support him, they talk about freedom and liberty, and that seems to be at the core of everything they are fighting for, that what's good in America, and that's what's going to make America great again, is all of us having freedom and liberty. They don't believe in it for people of color, particularly black people and black athletes. So we just need better civics education in this country so we can just these ignorant people will just sit down and realize that their argument holds no water.
Avis.
Colin Kaepernick can do what he wants, and Nike was right to feature him.
Absolutely.
Avis.
Yeah, the problem is I don't think this is based in ignorance. This is based in white privilege and the desire to hold on to it for the very last breath, okay? These people aren't stupid. What they are, though, is they are offended by what they perceived as an uppity Negro, okay? And they cannot handle the fact that this is a talented black man who has the right to say what he wants to say, and they cannot do anything about it, even when they are flamed up by the racist in chief that's sitting over there in the Oval Office right now.
All right, then. Avis, Rena, Eugene, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us today. Folks, going to a break right now. Mario Van Peebles has a new movie coming out on Friday. It's called Armed. Yours truly had an opportunity to play a role in that film. Here is the trailer. Check it out.
With loving and respecting your wife. Amen. I've been loving and respecting my wife for 18 years. Even my girlfriend knows that. Turn the TV up.
There's been another mass shooting today.
I take a lot of heat where I say guns, you gotta have them.
This sort of thing just seems to be happening with more and more frequency.
Man down! We need backup!
Chief, you need to see this.
Get out now! Something happened to us in that raid, Chief. We were exposed to some sort of chemical.
Here we go. We're just gonna go down the dark hole of conspiracy theories.
This mission requires that we stay cool. Cool breeze, baby.
We do not recognize the federal government.
They're gonna recognize you. We don't know who's messing with our heads. We're just looking for some answers.
Are you off your meds?
I did a little bit of research on you. A lot of people think I'm like a ticking time bomb. Other people say, hey, look, this guy is a public hero.
All I can tell you is killing those bad guys felt like the right thing to do.
How's this crazy fool gonna know who's the bad guy?
They're messing with our Second Amendment, Chief.
I'm an American. I have the right to bear more arms than anybody on this planet.
He's got a gun!
You're crazy.
I'm sorry.
Boobs or booty?
Booty? Don't write no check with your mouth, your ass can't catch, huh?
Oh my God, you have to see this. Uncle Jason is trending.
That's coming to you from Mr. Jason Pratt.
That's my custom-tailored suit.
According to him, he's one of the good guys.
All right, folks, our HBCU Giving Day is Miles College, please. Bring the graphic back up, please. Again, Miles College is our university. We're all about supporting. Please pull the graphic up. We're all about supporting HBCU, so we created the campaign, #HBCU Giving Day. If you want to support Miles College, founded in 1898, please go to miles.edu. That's miles.edu. If you want to support another HBCU, that is great. They need your support because we need to ensure that we are educating our own all across this country. And so congratulations on Miles being our HBCU Giving Day school. All right, folks, there's always talk about technology. There's always something new coming out. Of course, this is a digital show here, and you've been hearing about cryptocurrency and blockchain. You're probably going, what the hell is blockchain? There's a conference taking place right now at Howard University called the Black Blockchain Summit. And folks all across the world are there talking about what is happening with this technology. And so I wanted to explain to you, because you've probably been hearing about it. We should be in the know. So joining us is Sinclair Skinner. He is the founder of BitMari. How you doing?
Oh, awesome. Thank
all
you for being here.
Well, glad to have you here. So what is blockchain?
Blockchain is this great technology. It's allowing us to transfer value without going through the banks, without going through PayPal. So it's a new way. It's like digital information that allows us to transfer value.
Okay, so what is that? So, I mean, how does it work? So, I mean, I'm standing here, I've got 2 iPads, I've got an iPhone, and so, and when you say transfer value, is it money or is it anything?
So it's like data. It's like just like you send a picture to someone, that's data, but that data is not encrypted. So people can duplicate it or counterfeit it. With Bitcoin blockchain technology, you actually have now a way to take data and encrypt it, where now there's only one person possessing that data, and we can verify there's nothing else, you can't copy it. So now we can now transfer value anywhere in the world that's encrypted.
Okay, so how do we use it? So what are the uses for blockchain?
Well, that's
also, hold up, before you answer the question. What's the difference between blockchain and cryptocurrency Bitcoin? Is it the same or is it different?
These are more specific categories. So you have the internet and you have mobile apps. They all fall into something that we actually use the internet to do. Okay. This is a small category. At the conference, we're going to be talking about how we can use it for social justice, securing information that the police have on us. If you have a bad cop, how do we take that information and secure it, encrypt it so no one can tamper with it? So there's like already coming ideas out of this conference about how to apply this technology. So we got one more day left. We have a conversation on environmental justice. We're talking about how we can how we can use this technology to create education systems where we can secure the actual curriculum, secure the students' grades, doing things that we couldn't do before this technology.
So when you say secure it, I mean, so let's just say it's you and I who are communicating, and so you want to send me something. Okay, so let's use your example. We've discovered the background of this particular police officer involved in the shooting. Okay, so walk me through how you are getting the information to me. How does it work?
Awesome. So blockchain is literally blocks of data connected together, date stamped and secured, so that in order to change the first piece of information, by the time we get to this 1000th block, to get to this first one, you have to undo all this information. You have people processing this information in a decentralized way.
So how is it sent? So I have it on my computer.
Right.
Okay. And so I want to get it to you. What am I doing? How am I sending it to you?
All right. So you have two pieces of information. You have a public address and a private address. Your public address is like a bank account. You give it to me, I can actually send money to you, but I can't take money out of your bank account.
Right.
Then you have a private key, a private account number, which is actually like a PIN number for a bank. So I can send you value. If you give me your Bitcoin or your crypto address, I can send you crypto to that address. Only you, though, can unlock its value or manipulate its value once it's in your address with your private key. So that's how it works. So it's 2 pieces of encrypted information. One you can share with everyone, I can't take out, and one is the one that actually allows you, like your PIN number, to access the money inside.
Okay, and so when you say it can be used for social justice, how? I mean, I get money, because like right now, if I want to send my niece some money via PayPal, okay, she can give me her email address, I put it in, she's under her family and friends, she isn't charged anything for it, and then boom, I can send $100, she's got $100, okay? So is that how it works?
It's how it works, but now you no longer need a third party. You no longer need Visa. You no longer need Microsoft to be in charge of it. You don't need Uber in charge of it. You don't need a central point. It's actually a network of us all working together.
Okay.
So we're the ones actually allowed to transact on this platform, and as long as we're sharing this information, our public keys, we can transfer it without having Microsoft say, no, you can't. Just like you just saw Bank of America say, hey, I think you're not a citizen. We're going to freeze your account. Well, now, if we were using blockchain technology, they can't arbitrarily freeze your account. You have the freedom to control your own information, your own value.
Okay. All right. So here's the deal. We're going to have more of these conversations, because I'm looking at some of y'all comments right now on FaceTime and Periscope, and y'all are telling me right now, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And so, but again, though, because I mean, we need to be aware, because these conversations are being held all across the country. And I think people are still trying to wrap their arms around, and okay, what does this actually mean? What does it look like? And so maybe what we'll do next time, we'll do a demonstration. We can just sort of walk folks through to show them that.
Or come tomorrow. We got one more day of the conference.
Okay. All right, cool. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a bunch. All right, folks. Of course, as you know, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. I want to thank all of you. First of all, we had an amazing week last week. More than 1.1 million views on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. And what we did was, of course, we had shows Tuesday through Friday, and we restreamed those shows Saturday and Sunday as well. And so we want you, of course, to join others in supporting us in what we are doing here, because this is important. It is special. We've had folks who are charter members of our Bring the Funk fan club, because I've always made the point we have to fund our own freedom. And so I want to go ahead and give a shout out to some of these folks who've been supporting us. Deborah Gaston, Deborah Pickens, Deborah Pilgrim, Dee Anderson, Deidre Johnson, Deidre Hill, Delisa Bromwell, DeMarcus Sneed, Denarle Williams, Dennis Parnell, Derek Edwards, Derek Tompkins, Derek Robinson, Deshaun Freeman, Designs by Marnie, Dexter Edwards, DG Photography, Diane Gray, Dominator Tungsten Weights, Don Chandler, Donald J. Harris, Donald Martin, Donald Rubin, Donna M. Jordan, Doreen Riley, Doris Montgomery, Doug Corbett, Douglas Brown, Dwayne Thomas, Dwight E. Moore, Divon King, E. Glass, Irvin Young, Ebenezer Community Development Corporation, Ebony Gully, and Elena Daria. Again, those are some of the folks who have supported us via our Bring the Funk fan club. You can go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, and our goal is to get 20,000 of our followers to contribute a minimum of $50 over the course of the year to hit a goal of $1 million. And so that's what our goal is. If you can't give that, if you can give more, that's great. You can give less, that's great. The whole point of this is for us to be able to be as independent as possible in bringing you the news and information that you want and desire. And so go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Also, folks, if you missed last week's show, all you got to do is you can go to Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope and actually watch the shows. They're all on there. Or you can subscribe to our audio podcast and our video podcast on Google Play and iTunes. You can download those and watch them on the go. And the last thing, you got to do me a favor. There are a lot of folks out there who are fans of mine or who are who are older and they don't know anything about the technology stuff. I'm going to need y'all to help them set this up on their phones, set up the live notifications on Periscope, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook as well. Help your grandmother, your grandfather, your mom and dad, aunt, uncle out. In fact, last week my dad sent me a text because he said, hey, I was able to watch your show through Apple TV through the big screen. So he didn't want to watch it on the phone. So now he's able to watch the show on the 50-inch screen at the house there. And so I want you to do the same thing as well. Folks, thank you for watching us today. Don't forget the restream, Roland Martin Unfiltered, 10 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Eastern. Be sure to tell a friend. This show is all about you, speaking of your interests and your concerns. Y'all have an absolute great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Holla!